Amid sliding polls and significant political blows, the federal Liberal caucus retreat in BC starts Monday as the party figures out its next steps. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau will face a fretful and strained caucus, with MPs looking for him to reveal his plan to address the political purgatory the party has endured for months. Over the summer, several Liberal MPs privately and publicly demanded a meeting with Trudeau after the devastating by-election loss of a Liberal stronghold in Toronto. All right, let's bring in Tom Mulcair, CTV News political commentator and former NDP leader. Tom, good to see you as always.
Good to be with you, Renee.
Now, the Prime Minister will be in British Columbia tomorrow with MPs looking for him to finally reveal his plan to address these dismal polling numbers that the party has endured for months. What do you think the plan is here?
Well, I think that one of the things he's trying to do is change the channel a little bit. We know that Mark Carney is one of those people who's been waiting in the wings for a tap on the shoulders if Trudeau decides to step down. So Trudeau's trying to get ahead of that. He's bringing Carney into the caucus meeting, which is clever. Carney got beat up quite a bit for not having run for Trudeau in the 2021 election. You might recall there was a phase where all of the Liberal pundits and people who were their mouthpieces on the air were, every time his name came up, he said, yeah, but when we asked him to run, he didn't. So Carney's playing it smart as well. He's showing his availability. He's going into the caucus meeting. As for Trudeau himself, I think that your setup was pitch perfect. I don't think there's any better way to say it, Renee. Trudeau is in trouble with his own caucus. He knows that. He's in trouble in the polls. He knows that. The fact that Singh walked out this week is no help. And there are two by-elections coming up on Monday, the 16th, the same day Parliament goes back. And those could have a determining effect on Trudeau's future. One of them, in Winnipeg, the Liberals aren't in. It's basically a fight between the Conservatives and the NDP. NDP has a strong candidate, The Conservatives are throwing everything they can at it. They'd love to grab it. They have a chance of doing that. In Montreal, that's going to be the exciting one. From all the information I'm getting, it's split essentially 30-30-30 amongst the Liberals, the Bloc Québécois, and the NDP. Conservatives, again, are not in that one. They're at about 10% in the door-to-door polling. So if Trudeau were to lose that one, it's a safe Liberal seat. It was David Lametti, the Attorney General's seat. If he loses that one, Renee, that will be huge trouble for Trudeau. So this is all against the backdrop of a very nervous caucus. And you know what? When you're a leader of a party, I talked to you a bit about that. You don't like it when your caucus is nervous. You like to have them buoyed up a bit, feeling good. Nobody, people are saying very open things. Wayne Long, MP, saying, look, we have no chance of defeating Poilievre if Trudeau stays as leader. So that's pretty tough stuff to hear from somebody who was a Liberal MP.
And as you mentioned, a lot of people see former Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney as a potential successor to Trudeau. Is there a chance he's not just there to help with a financial plan, Tom?
Well, I think a little bit like we were saying before, he's doing it a bit for the party and a bit to help Trudeau, because it does help Trudeau that he's there and it gets a little bit of pressure and changes the topic a bit. But at the same time, he's doing something for himself because he's got to show himself to be a Liberal loyalist first and foremost. This is one extremely capable guy. He's very, very smart. I hear some people try to dismiss him, saying, oh, he'd be like Ignatieff because he's never been in politics before. That'd be a serious mistake to compare Mark Carney to Michael Ignatieff, two totally different beasts. This guy grew up in the Northwest Territories, very humble roots, went on to the most amazing jobs. And even today, Renee, he's got a top job at the United Nations on climate change and finance. So, this guy is the real deal in terms of these very important jobs that he's had over the years. And the Liberals, are giving him a serious look. There are people in cabinet who are top-notch, think Chrystia Freeland, but every time anybody would talk to them in a debate or if they were to become the leader, they'd have to wear every single bad decision of Justin Trudeau. So I think that, the idea of freshness comes with Carney, and we'll see what type of reception he receives. I don't know if the cameras are going to be allowed to be there when Carney is introduced, but I'd love to see what type of applause he gets from the caucus.
Is there a chance that Trudeau steps down at this meeting? Is there a chance he steps down ever?
Well, when you saw this week when nobody saw the Jagmeet Singh's move coming, except Poilievre, who actually asked for it. But, that sometimes these things do come out of the blue. With the return of Parliament, there is such thing as, holding back. You can prorogue Parliament. We went through that famously with Harper, and then that would reset the schedule. It would dump a bunch of legislation. So I'm not sure he'd want to do that, because there are things in there that Trudeau quite finds reasonably important for his future and for his legacy. But will Trudeau step down at some point? I still think that that's a real possibility. He's got another career ahead of him. There's tons of things that he could do in the private sector. This guy would be, command top dollar and be really in demand. But right now, his political fortunes are on the wane. I don't know if he actually believes that he's going to be taking on Poilievre. He says he is, because he has no other thing that he can possibly say. Otherwise, he's a lame duck. But does he actually believe that he's going to take on Poilievre with the numbers? Consistently now, Renee, for well over a year, the Liberals have been double-digit behind the Conservatives. And I think that everything, if you listen to the polling, if you listen to the door-to-door, and I've been talking to organizers in Montreal and in Winnipeg, just saying to me, look, on the doorstep, it's brutal about Trudeau. So I think he's got enough political sense to know that he's not very popular right now. He doesn't have much of a chance, and he's probably looking for an elegant way out. And maybe the first step is inviting Mark Carney into his caucus.
Very interesting. We will have to leave it there, Tom. Thank you very much for this chat, as always.